Thanks for tuning in to the Conch, a BringJoy podcast. I'm your host, Joy Newlish. I'm a first-generation Conch raised by a fourth. What does that add up to? A whole lot of Conch pride. And that's what this show is all about, celebrating the incredible people of Key West and their stories from every corner of our Conch community. So sit back and relax, cuz. Let's do this thing.
Experience the beautiful backcountry of the Florida Keys through an adventure like no other. Our expertly trained crew will take you on the only true sailing excursion in Key West. Kayak through beautiful channels and snorkel in the wildlife refuge. Then settle down with some refreshments and treats before the sun sets. Danger Charters. Adventure awaits. Locals get 30% off.
How we doing, Conch fans? I got a good one for you today. We're talking with Dr. Michael Stern, who's doing big things in the community. A true Conch. I'm happy to have you on the show, Michael. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Joy. Happy to be here.
Hey, I started noticing you when you came back from college and set up your practice. I'm like, look at this guy doing big things. And the more I was watching you, the more I see how much you're giving to the community. So I'm excited to talk to you about all those things.
Sure. Yeah. I'm happy to give back to the community that has done so much for me. So it's really just second nature at this point, honestly.
Good stuff. Let's talk about your practice because you're doing it a little different. Southernmost Sports Chiropractic. You don't have a brick and mortar. You're a mobile shop. Tell me about that idea.
Sure. So yeah, you've probably seen that big, obnoxious rolling billboard going around town, right? 24-foot Sprinter van. I can't say that the idea was entirely mine. Obviously, BB's had his barbershop rolling that way for a few years now. So he was definitely a big inspiration for getting it set up the way that I do now. Prior to that, though, before I had the van, I was just going to people's houses, bring my table, my bags, my equipment in my car. I unload it, set it up in their house, in their office, wherever they needed me. Then I'd break it all down and leave. So it was going pretty well like that, but out of necessity, I came across the van. I was pushed into it essentially. Where December 2023, I was in a car wreck. A guy was pulling out of Home Depot on North Roosevelt, cutting across a couple lanes of traffic, and just T-boned me, totaled my car. So that was my work vehicle. That was sort of how I ran my practice at that point. And what seemed to be a setback at the time turned out to be a huge blessing in reality. So I started looking around for, essentially a van like what I'd seen BB do. And I was telling my patients, oh yeah, I'm in the market for a new vehicle. I think I have this in mind. And I had played around with that idea a couple of times beforehand, but I had a patient, Jimmy Murillo. He owns Shades Window Tinting over there on Stock Island. He tagged me in a marketplace listing for Mercedes-Benz Sprinter van. That same day that I saw it, I drove up to Marathon. I looked at it. It was the perfect dimensions. It was everything that I needed. So I went ahead and I just picked it up and built it out. So I've been using that as my office for almost 2 years now, almost 2 years. And honestly, it was a blessing in disguise, that whole ordeal that I had went through.
I love that story. And there's a saying that I've learned a few years ago, the obstacle is the way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes where, we need a push from a friend or some other circumstances to steer us in a direction, we think we're headed in the wrong direction. But in fact, that's where we need to be. The other thing I noticed is the van's not in one spot. You pull up at a lot of the wellness areas, the yoga centers, the gyms.
Mm-hmm.
You're still going to people's houses, that kind of thing. That's unique as well.
Yeah, I'm blessed to have a great relationship with a ton of the gyms in town. Fitness is really important to me. I have a membership just about to every single gym down here. I think it's, an important thing, an important aspect, and it should be in most people's lives. And I just fell in love with it at a young age. So when I got into this field, fitness, wellness, athletes, sports, it kind of just spoke to me naturally. And those were the kinds of people in the demographic that I wanted to target primarily. And I've, gotten in touch and become really great friends with most of the owners of those gyms here in town. So I've got a great setup right now, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I spend my whole day outside of CrossFit on Flagler. Shout out to Jeff for letting me stay out there. And honestly, it's the perfect combination, I would say. Those people who are looking to invest in their health and into their body and are willing to put the work in to improve on those things, we sort of go together like peanut butter and jelly. Right. So I supplement a lot of what these athletes and these active people need. If they're coming back from an injury, if they're post surgery, if they're just trying to like sort of move the needle and get to that next level with their performance, with their strength, maybe decrease their mile or 5K time, whatever it is, I can sort of fit into that equation however they need me to get them back to where they are, push them past their limits, whatever it is. I really love seeing them improve and progress that way.
And let's talk about health and wellness. Let's go along with that. What are 3 tips that you have to give for someone who like me, who there's an athlete inside of here waiting
Mhm.
to come out, right? I want to start to get healthy. What are 3 tips to help somebody get started with an active lifestyle?
Yeah, that's a really good question too. 3 things I would say that are pretty important or one is you would want to find something you enjoy. It's sort of the best way to start to figure out where you fit into maybe the fitness or the wellness or that athletic space. And a lot of times I've found people find that through sports. So maybe it's not directly I run or I weightlift or I do this, I do that. I enjoy playing basketball. I enjoy just shooting hoops. I enjoy playing pickleball. There's the social aspect to it. There's obviously the health aspect to it. It's almost like we're sneaking in fitness into this like social game that we play. So it's definitely got to be something that you like, because if you don't like it, it's going to feel like a chore to do. It's just not going to resonate with you as much as it should. And this is all not only for physical benefit, but for mental benefit as well, just as much so. So that would be a big one, is find something you enjoy. And then you want to be realistic too. So you can't go from couch potato to I'm going to exercise 2 hours every day, 7 days a week. It doesn't quite work like that. You want to have
Tried that,
realistic
right?
goals.
Doesn't work.
Yeah. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. So if you set a realistic goal for yourself, I'm going to get out 15-minute walk 3 times a week and start there, you'll realize that the more you do that, the more you will maybe prioritize that as something you need to do. And you'll notice that getting those walks in 5 days a week isn't so hard anymore. Maybe walking for 30 minutes 3 times a week instead of the 15, that's not too hard to do. So it's all about sort of like this mindset shift, but without diving straight into the deep end, from nothing to 100 all at once. And then I would say the third one is maybe find a common group that is enjoying or wanting to do the same things as you. Because fitness in numbers, can go a really long way. There's this really cool run club that's just started up. It's called Peak Pulse. They run twice a week. And I mean, they've grown their community in a huge way. I want to say one of my good friends, he runs with them every single week, twice a week. They're up to, 50 participants every single time they run, which is incredible because they've not been around very long. They've got a great vibe, a great community. And that's just one example of a good way to get into it if you're just starting out. I mean, CrossFit, they've got group classes and group fitness. Over at Fit on Stock Island, they've got anything you could think of, really, yoga, Pilates, high intensity training, you name it, they do something, and they probably have a group that would fit your, desires or anything like that. So having that group, maybe the support and community can really go a long way too.
Those are great tips. And let's flip that around. What are 3 things that you suggest that those that are living a healthy and active lifestyle do to maintain and to be able to continue, to practice, to take care of their health without injury?
Sure, sure. That's a great question too. So essentially, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. We are looking for longevity. So one would be make sure you recover well, right? You want to not only focus on training hard to hit your goals and to enjoy your time being fit and doing those activities that we love, but prioritizing sleep, nutrition, hydration, low levels of stress. I know that one's a little bit easier said than done. Those are like the 4 main components to being able to continue to exercise regularly without injury or, without feeling like you're being set back from any number of obstacles that might come your way. Now, you might notice when I answered that question, I didn't incorporate myself in that. I didn't say that, I was a really important part of that puzzle. And I would say if you're doing all four of those things for your recovery and you still feel like you can sort of, you need something to get to that next level, just dial in a little bit more. That's when my services will come into play. You're already on top of your hydration, nutrition, sleep. Your stress is under control. You're not overworking yourself. Then I could jump in. We could see what other limits we can push.
That's a
So that's
per
huge.
that's a perfect transition because I have that. That's one of the questions I wanted to ask you too. Let's talk about chiropractic care and what is that, and what are the services that you offer.
Sure. So, a ton of times when somebody says chiropractic, they're thinking the cracks, the pops, the twists, the releases. And, it's for good reason that is sort of like where your mind initially goes. And as a chiropractor, I do that day in and day out. Most of the time with my patients, I'll do the adjustments because that's what they expect when coming to a chiropractic office. It's a very powerful tool. It can help a ton with helping people move better, helping people feel better, but it's really so much more than that. So chiropractic, as far as a practitioner goes, I am qualified to perform rehabilitative exercise, that's similar to physical therapy, what you would see in an office like that. I'm licensed to perform massage work. I personally, this is a little bit extra certification. I'm certified to do acupuncture and dry needling. I have several different machines in my practice that I use for patients who might need a different spin on things and maybe a unique approach that they've not tried before. So it's very all encompassing. Essentially, chiropractic, when done well and nowadays, should look very, very similar to maybe a physical therapist with a larger emphasis on the spine and hands-on work to help people move, feel better, recover from injury, et cetera, et cetera. So there are even patients I don't adjust whatsoever. If I'm working on somebody's knee and they've got just these major meniscus issues or anything like that, most of the time it's 30 minutes or an hour of rehab. We're working the knee through different ranges of motion, through different stretches, through different strengthening exercises. But a patient like that, sometimes an adjustment isn't necessary. So I'm trying to sort of break the mold on what people feel a chiropractor is.
I did go on your website and checked you out a little bit, and I loved reading the story about how you decided to go to this field. Will you share that story?
Sure, sure. So my first introduction to chiropractic was from my mom. I was probably 8 or 9 years old. My mom got in a pretty severe car accident, and she was dealing with a lot of different stuff. She had neck pain, headaches, migraines, low back pain, mid back pain, the whole nine. She was really in bad shape, and she had tried several different things to alleviate that pain and that discomfort. She had gone to massage, she'd gone to physical therapists, she tried medications, she'd done injections, you know, you name it, she had given it a shot outside of surgery. She never had gone under the knife. But one of her last resorts before she was thinking about doing surgery to alleviate her pain was going to a chiropractor. So she went to a chiropractor. He's practicing in Key West now still. He was up in Big Pine when she first started seeing. His name is Dr. Michael Norman. He was the only person who could touch her pain. She saw him religiously for, a few months, and her pain dwindled to almost nothing. So she saw how beneficial it was for her health. She started to bring myself and my younger brother to see Dr. Norman as well. We were not in the same car accident as her, and we didn't really have, we didn't have scoliosis. We didn't have anything going on with us, but she could see the benefit from her experience with it. So I, excuse me, I've personally seen a chiropractor since I was 10 years old, and I've been very consistent with my care. Dr. Norman's still who I see in town today when I need an adjustment. He's, great. He's taught me a ton. He let me intern with him when I was in high school, when I was in college, when I was growing up in chiropractic school, even. He taught me a ton. He's always given me a lot of opportunities and chances to work with him and pick his brain. And he's been really an asset to my family, obviously, but to the community as well. He's been here for, going on 20 plus years now.
You mentioned community, and that was the next area that I wanted to talk about because that's the other space where you got my attention. I started seeing you involved with Take Stock in Children, and I understand that there's a full circle moment with that organization. Will you talk about Take Stock a little bit and share your story?
So, for anybody who might not know what Take Stock in Children is, it's an incredible organization that offers low income, high risk students in Monroe County, really through the state of Florida, but obviously locally in Monroe County, an opportunity to attend college with essentially a full ride tuition scholarship to any public university in Florida. So, I was a recipient of one of those scholarships, and obviously, back then, I did not understand the magnitude of how incredible that was. But it allowed me the opportunity to get my degree from Florida State University and then go on to graduate school so that I could be in the position that I'm in today. So I was selected into that program as a seventh grader at HOB. I was assigned a mentor, which is a huge portion of that program. The requirements for a student to fulfill their, path to receiving that scholarship is they need to meet with a mentor weekly from seventh grade up until their graduation from high school. They need to stay drug and crime free. They need to have a certain GPA. I want to say it's over a 2.5 and 3.0 GPA. And after they satisfy those, they get that scholarship to any public school, like we said. What's great too is that now we're offering those to trade schools in case somebody would want to maybe become an electrician or a plumber or a blue collar sort of service person like that. So it's really, really incredible. And I've been blessed since coming back to be a part of the Alumni Association. I was appointed to be the president of that association. So I've got a great board. We've been working primarily lately on increasing mentorship here in the Keys. And we encourage anybody who has the time and the resources to jump on board with Take Stock in Children so that these students who need mentors can be matched with them in order to receive those scholarships that they so desperately need. Because there's no way I would be in the position that I'm in today. And it's not just me. I mean, these are hundreds and hundreds of local kids who go and come back and have, just been blessed by this program tenfold. And they bring it back to the community and they reinvest in the new generation. So I can't say enough about it. I'm obviously very passionate about it. And I'm just grateful to be in the position that I'm in now because of them.
I'll vouch for the program. I mentored for 7 years, and it was, I have to say, I think I got more out of the program as a mentor than my mentee did. And we still stay in touch today. And I was with her from 7th grade all the way through graduation. And she went on to Florida Gulf Coast. Yeah,
Mhm.
FGCU. Anyone out there who's listening, who's considering mentoring, give me a call. I vouch for it. You won't regret it. It'll be a true joy in your life, I guarantee you. The other thing that I saw, again, you got my attention. You celebrate your success by giving back to the community. I believe you're celebrating your 3rd anniversary in practice, and you host a big fundraiser. Tell me about that. Where'd the inspiration come from?
Sure, no problem. Well, I just feel like in this field, it's all about service. You have to be pretty selfless and you can't look inward when you are just helping people all day recover from what they're dealing with, helping them through what they're struggling with physically. So I just thought that it was appropriate not only to, celebrate another successful year of being in business and being able to serve my community like that. I wanted to be able to, give back in a way that could make a difference to this community too. So the last couple of years for this celebration that we have just to celebrate another year in practice, we've raised money for the Garrett Hughes Memorial Scholarship Foundation. I personally went to school with Garrett's older brothers. We graduated high school together, to school with Andrew and with Zach, and then Carson was just a couple years behind me too. So I love their family. They're incredible people. They're Garrett's mom, Miss Leslie, she's a patient of mine. She was actually one of my very first people that I ever treated, and I think the world of her. I can get behind this. You see sort of a pattern here. This scholarship for high school football athletes who want to go to college, maybe not necessarily play football at the next level, but they want the opportunity to go and show the world what they can do. So that's what the Garrett Scholarship goes toward, is those students who were involved with the football program while they were in high school. And this last year on March 7th, we had our most recent event. It was great. We had a silent auction. We had live music. It was a great turnout. We had over 100 bodies there at the event. We raised over $10,000 for the scholarship, and we really couldn't have done it without all of the support from the attendees, from the companies and the businesses who donated those silent auction items, from the company Brightwild, the vacation rental company. They were integral in letting us use the space for the event. So not only was it very, very satisfying and rewarding to see what we could raise, but to see who was able to come out and support. And it's not just me. It's all of these dozens and dozens of people who showed up that night too.
We do have that's one of the beautiful things about Key West. We're such a supportive community, but I do think it's very important to shine the light on those who are giving and also to see there's more than one way to go about supporting each other. You mentioned probably 4 or 5, maybe more businesses in the few minutes that we've been talking. And, people coming together and supporting each other. That's one of the beautiful things about Key West. Let's talk about some of those Conch connections that you have. I know you're a true Conch, first
Mhm.
generation Conch, born and raised here like me. Tell me about your family and your friends. Who are you connected to here on this island?
Well, that is really interesting because since I have started in business, I have the opportunity to meet so many people, so many new people. And I thought that I already knew a lot of people in town, but I'm meeting different generations, people that I never would have otherwise run into, in all honesty. So I just treated my 1,000 patient, so 1,000 individual people I've seen since I started my practice. And I would say at least a good 85 to 90% of them are locals. They live here year round. A lot of them are from here, some of them not. But uh, I am just blown away by how that has even influenced who I spend my time with and how my circle has changed. Um, I just feel really, really lucky to have the opportunity to meet all these people. And honestly, I wish there were more hours of the day to spend more time with them, to get to know them better and to support them more, fully and entirely. So a lot of my really, really good friends, some of them have gone away. Some of them still live here. The Bertini name is pretty well known. I know that my friend Brett, his mom has taught, generation upon generation of kids growing up here. She was my algebra teacher.
He watches
So,
the show. She'll
oh
be
yeah,
happy to see you.
perfect. Shout out to you, Miss Bertini. So I have to mention Brett. I have to mention my other buddy, Eric Cuneo. He's a Marine Corps veteran, born and raised in Key West, very, very involved in the hockey club and the hockey program down here. His parents were the ones who established it. And I got to mention them because I bought a boat with them. So they would be upset at me if I didn't give them, a little bit of love on here. So we bought our first boat together. They're who I spend a good amount of my time with outside of work. And like I said, probably too many to name. Now every time I leave the house, I'm running into 10, 12, 20 different people that I had recently seen in the week or I'd spent time with in the past. That's probably one of my favorite things about Key West and the position that I find myself in now is to say hello, share a smile, a hug, a handshake with dozens and dozens of people every single day. It's special. I don't think I'd find that anywhere else.
It is special. I know your parents must be proud. Your parents are educators too. We got to give them a shout out.
Yeah. My mom, she's teaching second grade now at Gerald Adams. And then my dad, I don't know if he's ever going to stop teaching, right? He's at the high school teaching Spanish it's got to be the 35th, 36th year. So I've got a funny story about that. So
Hey, go ahead and drop their names just in case somebody doesn't know.
no problem. So my mom's name is Jessica Caton. She moved down to Key West when she was probably close to 8 or 9 years old with her family. And she's been around ever since. She recently just got her master's degree through the University of Florida. We'll let her off the hook for that, though. I won't hold that against her. And she's been in education for the last, 20 years. I remember her being in my second grade classroom as a teacher's aide. And then my stepdad is Henry Boza. He's probably taught just about everybody on this island. Is probably neck and neck between him and Miss Bertini, who's taught more locals down here. But I started asking some of my patients who are, maybe in their 40s, early 50s, maybe late 30s. I'll say, hey, uh, your child is in high school. Do they know my stepdad? His name is Henry Boza. And they look at me, they say, I had Mr. Boza. let alone my daughter, son, whoever it might have been. So he's getting generational with it. He probably won't like me sharing that, but he's teaching the parents and their kids.
No, that's good stuff. You know what? And I hope that you're able to stay here in Key West long enough that you'll be able to serve generations of Conch families like that. You mentioned your boat. So what are some of the things that you like to do here in Key West when you're not working?
So like I mentioned, I'm really into fitness. You'll see me in the gym in one way, shape, or form, somewhere down here doing something most days of the week. When the weather's nice and when my schedule allows it, I do like to get on the water, a little bit of sandbar. I've been trying to get into fishing. The fish don't like me. So I can't get them on the boat. I've been trying different things. I'm asking the experts. I take care of a lot of charter fishing guides. I'm trying to find out what I'm doing wrong. So I'd love to get better at fishing. I love to do it still. I'm no good at it. I won't bring anything home typically. I picked up running recently. I'm running in the 7 Mile Bridge race
That's
next
coming up
weekend.
soon.
Yeah, next weekend. So I've been training for that, but mainly I'm busy with the business. I love to spend time with my family. I've got dinner with my family every single Sunday. We do it at my mom's house, and we'll get together and just sort of recap our week and catch up with one another. But just spending time as much as I can with the people that I love.
I love that. And you're an older brother. You have two younger siblings, right? A brother and a sister. What do you hope they see in you that they'll pick up and will be inspired by?
That's a good question. And I feel like I don't think about that too much. I just try to be the best example that I can. So I would say I hope that they realize that it's not all about yourself. You know, it's always about the next person. It's always about paying it forward. It's always about what can I do to make somebody else's life easier? How can I support them? How can I, put them before myself so that they know that somebody is out there watching them or caring about what they're up to. And it's anybody. It's within our family. It's within the community. It's complete strangers. I think that it's very important to not be focused on yourself too much. I think that you need to always look outward, see how you can give back. Because I would not be in the position that I am without all the people who gave me time, effort, who took a chance on me. And so I want to afford that to others myself. And I hope that my siblings end up doing that as well.
Well, you certainly got my attention. That's exactly what I see in you as you move about the community. And like I said, I knew your parents, so I feel like I've known you for a long time, but it wasn't until you came back from school and I really started paying attention to how you're showing up for the community. And I'm like, this guy's doing it right. So I'm so happy that you took time. You're training for this run coming up. So I know you're busy and I appreciate you taking time to be on the show. Let me ask you one final question before we wrap up. What brings you joy, Doc?
Probably doing what I love in the place that I love. I am just blown away by the support that I've had from the community here in Key West. And 99% of the time when I'm in my office, it doesn't feel like work. I get to help all these people that I either knew growing up or I've just met and see them progress and see how they get their lives back. I'm able to, have them go from being unable to get out of bed comfortably to they're now playing with their kids, with their grandkids. It's just incredible that I can make a living doing something like that in a place like Key West where I do a good job and people come my way. And it's because they trust me and they know me and, we do good work together. So what just fills me completely is the opportunity to do what I love to do in the place I love to do it with the people that I love. I mean, it doesn't get better than that.
That's good stuff. That's a mic drop moment right there. And I wish you all the continued success, all the joy that you could possibly stand. And I thank you as a member of this community. I thank you for showing up for our kids. And we'll see you out at the Rex. Go Conchs.
Go Conchs.
I'm Joy Nulish, and I appreciate you tuning into my podcast. My purpose is to bring joy into my life and the lives of others. If you enjoyed this episode, drop a review, share, and subscribe because there's a lot of good stuff on tap. You can also follow BringJoy on YouTube and Instagram or check my website at joynulish.com. Now go bring joy to the people in your world. Until next time, much love.